Hello, my name is Kerry from Kerry's Card Creations. Welcome. So I am back today with a video for the Fancy Fold Craft Challenge. This is hosted by Monika. She is the paper moner here on YouTube. And every month we are given a fancy fold, and this month it's a double slider card. There is 9 of us that do videos and upload them onto our YouTube channels. There is Christine, Denise, Jenny, Katarina, Monika, Sabine, Emma and myself. And anybody can take part in this channel. If you've got if you've got a YouTube channel, then you can do your video of your own and use the hashtag FFC Challenge 2023. Or there is a Facebook group, Fancy Fold Craft Challenge. You can make one of your own, take a photo and upload it into the group so that we can all see it. In the description bar I will leave a link to everybody else's channel so you can pop over and have a look, because we all make cards so differently, and all the details of the challenge will be there as well. So like I say, for the month of April it was a double slider card. I had not made one of these before, and I did at first struggle to wrap my head around this, but so I got my inspiration from Sam at Mixed Up Craft, but this is my own measurements, and she works in inches and I work in centimeters, so mine is a totally different size as well. This was my first one and I made it totally wrong. I ripped it apart, I don't know how many times, and redid it, but that was my first one. So that's why I've not decorated the front. So that was the first one I did. And then I was halfway through filming my video and the doorbell went. So this was my other one I made, and I really like this one. That's the second one I made. So I'm going to make another version now. And my finished one measures 12 centimeters by 19 centimeters. So it will fit in a C5 envelope, or I'm going to make an envelope of my own with my papers. Okay. So oh, and I just should say that this is the stand version, so it stands up. Okay. So to make the stand part, you need a piece of white card. This measures 12 centimeters by the full length of a A4, and you score it, on the long side at 12, 24, 26 and 28 centimeters. Okay, so that 12 centimeter folds over, and then these bottom ones concertina, so it goes in and it goes out and then it goes in, and you add glue to this section here. Keep it folded over, add glue to that section and then fold that over, and it should all line up. Okay, and that's your easel part done. Okay, so I have got a piece of white card. This makes the mechanism piece. This measures 11 centimeters by 11 centimeters. And what I did is I took my scoreboard and on one side, I scored at 1 centimeter, just down to 1 centimeter. And then I scored at 10 centimeters, just down to 1 centimeter. And I turned it to the right and I scored 10 centimeters from 1 centimeter down to 10 centimeters, joining those lines up. And then I flipped it around and I did the same the opposite side. So 1 centimeter down to 1 centimeter, 10 centimeters down to 1 centimeter, turn it to the right, and 10 centimeters from 1 centimeter down to 10 centimeters, join your two lines up. So when you've finished, it should look like that. Okay. And then I'm going to cut. So I'm going to cut these two 1 centimeter sections away. So I'm going to cut up the score line. I'm going to remove the score line as well on either side. So I'm just going to cut up that score line, and then I'm going to take that score line away and remove that 1 centimeter section. Like that. And then I'm going to do the same the opposite side. I'll just put my scissors in there. You could use a craft knife for this, but I am not that fancy with a craft knife. I tend to be a disaster. Right, so that's your mechanism piece. Okay, so then you need a piece of plastic. Now, my piece of plastic is a piece of packaging. This came off my acetate. So I had a pack of acetate next to me, and I was going to use a cellar bag. I'm not sure if that would have worked so well, but then I remembered I had this piece. I had this, so that is what I'm going to use. So this measures just shy of 9 centimeters. I cut mine at 8.9 centimeters so that it fits nicely in between those two pillars. And then you need to be able to wrap it round, so you need enough. So I have cut mine to 26 centimeters, but that you don't need all of that. So I'm going to put a strip of white tape. Now I'm all fingers and thumbs now. I'm just going to put mine on there because I can't see my acetate on my blue board. So I'm going to run some double-sided tape right along the edge of that plastic. So this, you don't want it to go past the two sides, and you don't want it to go past that front edge either. So you don't want any sticky. And then I'm going to wrap this around, oh, I don't know which way. I'm all fingers and thumbs now. Now the idea with this is you want it tight enough that it's not, you don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight. So the first one I made, I had mine way too tight, and so it did work, but it was very, very tight, and it didn't work as well. So I took it all apart and I redid this bit. So you want this piece, I'm trying to get it straight, and then fold it over so it works better. Like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut that excess off. Excess. Come on, Kerry. Speak properly today. Right. So there. That just moves backwards and forwards nicely. Right. So that's the mechanism piece done. Okay. Next. I've cut and mat and layered all these because there's a lot of pieces. So I have got to make the actual pulley pieces. This time I've mat and layered mine. The last time I just cut them and stamped on the actual white piece itself. So I've got 2 pieces of white card. These measure 9 centimeters. Excuse me, I've got terrible hay fever. 9 centimeters by 12 centimeters, and I've rounded the corner off. And if you've got a directional paper, you need to make sure that they are facing opposites. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces of white card that measure 9 by 12 centimeters. Then I've got 2 pieces of pattern paper, no, 2 pieces of coloured card that measure 8.5 by 11.5 centimeters. And then I've got 2 pieces of pattern paper that measure 8 centimeters by 11 centimeters. And like I say, I've rounded all the corners off. Right. Then I've got my pull pieces. And again, I've mat and layered these. So I've got 2 pieces of white card. These measure 7 centimeters by 14 centimeters. I got 2 pieces of coloured card. These measure 6.5 by 13.5. And I've got centimeters. And then I've got 2 pieces of pattern paper. Again, make sure you've got them in opposite directions if it's directional. And these measure 6 by 13 centimeters. And these are going to go behind in the center. So I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm doing now. Look, come on, Kerry. Right, they go on the back of there like that. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up so I know where to put my glue. I put my glue, and then I want that down the center. So I'm lining it right up with that edge. Okay. I'm going to do the same with the other side. So I'm just lining it up so I know how far up to put my glue. And again, I'm going to line that up with the center. Okay, so it's got a seam where you've joined the tape, and in Sam's video she did mention this, and she is right, because that seam, you want that seam of tape on the left hand side, because it struggles to get, it does go round the corner, but it does struggle a little bit. I'm just going to cut that. There's a little bit, I've still got some extra plastic. Obviously I can't get my scissors in there now that I want to. Right. So it does go around the corner, but it starts to struggle a bit. Whereas if you have it on the left hand side, that piece of tape never has to go around the back of the card. So that is a tip that Sam said, and I followed that tip and it works lovely. So now the right hand piece sticks on the top of there like that. So you put your tape, I'm using tape for this, down the back of there like that, just along that edge. Get my glue out the way. Oh, and then this piece I'm going to stick, and it, now we're going to hide that piece of tape as well on that plastic. So you want to stick it right to the very edge of your mechanism onto that plastic. Okay. And then this one goes behind on the plastic. So this time you put your tape on the top edge. And then I'm going to turn this over, and then I'm going to flip this one, and this one I'm going to line up with that plastic. So stick it on the plastic, line it up on the edge, and stick that flip that back over. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do to this piece is I'm going to put double-sided tape, foam tape. So I am going to use, I've cut some foam squares, and you want to put these along this edge here and this edge here, both sides. You don't want to go past that 1 centimetre line though, so make sure you stay this side. So you want something quite thick because you need the depth. So you do the top and the bottom, and then you turn it over and you do the same the other side. So I'm just going to cut some more. And the bottom as well. Okay, so that's that bit of it done, upside down. Now I have got to go on, I'll stick that onto the frame in a minute. I just want to do this piece. So this is a piece, this is for the front. This is a piece of white card. This measures 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters. I've got a piece of my colored card. This measures 11.5 centimeters by 11.5 centimeters. I'm just going to stick that on there. And then I've got a piece of pattern paper. This is 11 centimeters by 11 centimeters. Oh, a bit too close to the edge there. Let's stick that on there. So that's that bit done. Right, okay. So this is the stand piece. I've got my seam at the back, not that I think it matters. And then this piece sticks on there like that. So this is 1 centimeter short of this piece. So I'm going to take the backing off. Of my pieces. And I'm just going to line this up onto my stand piece, and I'm just going to allow that 1 centimeter allowance around the edge. Okay, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take these top pieces off. And then I'm going to line this piece right over the top, so it hides all that workings. Okay, and then look at that. Isn't that pretty? And these papers are so pretty. And then I've done myself a topper. Be Happy. This is an old cutting die set that I've got, so I've made that to go on there. So I'm just going to put that on there. And then I've die cut myself a bumblebee. He's got a dirty mark on his belly. It's better. I'll just put a little bit of on the back. And there you go. There is my version of the double slider card. So the more you use this, the better that mechanism works. It loosens up the more you pull it in and out. But I do think it's really lovely. And it seems really complicated, but once you break it down, it's not too bad at all. So, and like I say, it will stand. So yeah, that is my double slider card. So I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial today. Any questions, please just ask. And I will link all the details in the description bar, and I will be back again soon. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.